Welcome to Investor Spotlight. Today we have with us Mike Bennett, founder of DealMate. And Mike was just sharing with me, he's got this amazing story of a woman that he helped in Wisconsin. Tell us about that, Mike.
Yeah, so this was a really interesting deal that we had. So we were dealing with the seller Linda over in Wisconsin who was moving down to Florida, and she had a pretty unique situation. So her property, she had only purchased it about 2 years before that, so she had really paid down hardly any of this property at all. And really, she wanted to move quick. She wanted to do cash, but that's not going to work. So of course, we put on our creative hat to look at this deal from a different angle. And we got in touch with one of our partners that we work with, Jason Courtney, who was able to structure the right creative deal for her. And we were able to get her packed up and get her moving on her way over to Florida. What she really needed out of the deal was just to be able to walk away with enough to put a down payment on the new apartment that she was getting, and just get all of her stuff moved over there. And we were able to do that. He was actually, I think we got her like 80, I think it was 8,500, something like that, that we were able to get her for her down payment, getting all of her stuff moved. But before that was done, a whole nother thing popped up. So
Okay.
she gave us a call back as we were in the process of that closing,
Yeah.
and she actually called me on my cell and was like, Mike, I've kind of got a different situation here. I don't know if this is something that you can help me with, but I am super behind on my car payments and I
Oh, wow.
can't hold on to my car. Where
Wow.
I move, where I'm going, I'll have transportation there, but this vehicle, I'm behind on the payments and I can't keep up with it. And I was like, okay, so let me go talk with my partners about this, and let's see if there is some way that we could help you with this, because I've seen people talk about it, but we've never done anything with
Yeah.
taking over like a sub two on a car. That's something that would be new to us.
Right.
So I reached out to our partner Courtney. He pointed me into a certain direction. We actually did a post in the creative finance group, and then we had a guy named Matthias reach out to us, and
Okay.
so he specializes in specifically doing that, taking over car payments and basically doing like a sub two on a car.
Wow.
So we got them in touch together. They were able to form a deal. He drove out literally 2 days later, drove across the country. I think he was down in Arizona, drove all
Yeah.
the way to go meet with her. But well, I guess bought the car. He gave her, I think, like $2,000 for the car, so that added to what she could use for the new apartment and whatever
Sure.
transportation where she was going. But it was a crazy deal to see happen and to see that everything worked out. The chances that we were going to be able to pull off a creative finance deal and then have like this crazy thing pop up where she was like, and my car, do you think you could help me with my car? And we were like, well, it's not really in our wheelhouse. It's not like a typical thing that we would see.
Right.
Um, but we were able to get Matthias and her linked up together. Courtney, or Jason Courtney, was able to do a great job in structuring that creative deal, got her closed in just 2 weeks.
Wow.
And it was really
Yeah.
awesome. It was really cool. So that lady, this was maybe about uh, 9 or 10 months ago.
Okay.
And she has since sent me a letter in the mail and has asked me, what's your address so I can send you Christmas letters and stuff moving forward. So she wants to stay in contact with us, for
That's
years moving forward. She's super nice, such
that's
a
great.
such a sweet lady. And when we spoke with her, part of the
Yeah.
the issue that she had was, for months she had dealt with two different wholesalers that had both had her locked up for, like, I think one had her locked up for like 40 days and another one had her locked up for like 60 days.
Mhm. Mhm.
And she really just kind of kept holding on to this, this faith that she was going to get what she needed and that she was going to be able to
Right.
move. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the reason she was moving was to take care of a family member down in Florida.
Okay.
So we
Yeah.
really wanted to like help her get this figured out. And that was part of why we started DealMate, was because we did see that. So, she reached out to get my address. She's got my
Yeah.
phone number. She'll send me text every now and again. So she's a really nice, really sweet lady. She'll send me stuff. Like I've got an image here that she just sent me probably 2 weeks ago. She said, I absolutely love this, all of this. And she's just this, you can tell she's just a really kind-hearted lady. It's a list of all these things that we should do every day. And number one was compliment 3 people every day. Number two, watch a sunrise at least once a year. Number three, be the first to say hello. So it's, she's a really,
Wow.
really nice lady, and
So
she really
she's
deserved.
reaching back out to you to encourage you, and I mean that's the
Yeah.
thing in this business. And I know that everybody gets into real estate to make money, right? But what
Right.
we find is the silver lining is we get to build these amazing relationships. We get to help people. We get to solve problems. And I just want to say that's what I see in you, Mike. You are a problem solver, right? If something comes up like this situation with her with the car, that's not your
Mhm.
wheelhouse. You're not a car dealer, but she needed
Right.
help with this additional thing, and you were able to plug her and connect her with the right people to solve her problem, put a little extra money in her pocket for the move, and make this whole thing work for her. And that's
Mhm.
just amazing. So I appreciate you for being a problem solver and coming on board. And so tell us a little more about DealMate. Like, how did that come to be, and what's the main focus of that?
Right. Yeah. I mean, so Dealmate was born almost kind of out of a frustration. So when initially started this model, I actually flagshipped this model for another very large real estate company. I don't know. Should I say who it is?
We'll just say a large real estate
Well,
company.
we'll move on. They're large. I don't want to get in trouble though. So,
Yeah.
but I loved what we had built. It was really an agent-driven product, and we wanted to kind of break away from the agents. And
Yeah.
so, prior to that, years ago, I had started up, doing wholesaling. I think 2015, I got into doing wholesaling. I got into doing Airbnbs. And at a certain point, I think by 2017, I had 6 Airbnb rentals out in Tampa. We had ranked as super host for the last 2 years in a row. And then in 2017, I won the award for top super host in the Tampa Bay area. So
Great, man.
I was in love with real estate investing by the time, 2015 hit. But by 2017, I was like, oh, this is a sure thing. This is where
Yeah.
I belong. This is what I want to do long term. But then came 2020, and COVID had a major, major impact on the Airbnb industry, particularly here in Florida. So, for any
Mhm.
of the Florida residents out there that are listening to this, you might remember, especially if you were in the space, that we had a 2-month long mandated shutdown on all
Right.
vacation rentals in 2020.
Wow.
So, if you had a vacation rental, you were either about to lose a lot of money or you were about to reassess what was going on, and try to make some moves. So that's what we
Right.
did. We pulled back. We said, we had, a great, 5-year run with that. And we met some amazing people for years. Even to this day, I'll still have some people. I have a guy, Vlad, who'll reach out to me like once a year asking if I still have a place for him to stay. But unfortunately, we moved on from that space. So 2020, we sold all 6 of those properties. We liquidated, and I went out there for a few days and just had people walk into the apartments and pick stuff up, buy it, and leave with it until all the apartments were empty. And once that was done, I decided I was just going to stick with my wholesale hat. That's what I was
Yeah.
going to do. And so I went and got licensed in 2020.
Okay.
And then I just stuck with wholesaling. I had a license, I didn't really use it,
Yeah.
and I found that wholesaling was just a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Um, and so I
Well, because
joined
you're helping
the
people like the lady in Wisconsin with their,
right,
distressed situation. Like she's got to move right away. People have to move
right,
right away. They don't have time to put it on the market and jump all through all the hoops. So there's
right,
all kinds of problems out there that we get to help solve. And like I said, that's kind of the joy behind, the business.
right.
And so you
Yeah,
were doing that with wholesale. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, the retail side is great. Nothing, not a knock on agents at
Oh
all,
no,
but
it just
and
takes
I'm sure
time.
some of the agents that'll hear this too. They know, after a while, it's not as exciting. They just want to get their house sold, or they want to go buy a house, and
Right.
that's fine. But in real estate investment, particularly wholesale, you see, a lot of people who really do genuinely need help, and so that's why Dealmate was born. So we're not really a typical operation. So we're not a direct end wholesaler. We're not a direct end buyer. We are really like an educational platform for sellers.
Okay.
So when somebody wants to sell for cash, they come across our website, they find us, or they see one of our ads. They'll come to us. We get on a phone call. They speak with one of our home offer strategists who break down what cash looks like. What does creative finance look like? What does
Right.
innovation look like?
Right.
What are the advantages to each of these? And do any of these actually fit your situation? Is this going to help you get to your end goal? Or are you going to leave too much money on the table? Should you be listing with an agent? And so in instances like that, we'll refer them out to an agent or even a discount agent who just kind of does like a short listing so that they can compare both cash and retail offers from the market. But really, the root of what we started this for was because we wanted to see more successful cash sales. We knew that there was a huge boom from 2020 onward of people that were starting to wholesale, that were getting involved with courses and stuff. Back then I was doing the Astro Florida chat for Astro flipping and Keegley.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so, that was a huge jumping off point. But as time went on, I saw the pain points in the market where people were getting locked up for 30 or 45 days or longer with a contract that was just
Right.
not going to sell,
Yep.
because it's either somebody who, they could get them to the right number and they could lock up the deal, but it's not a market where things are going to move, or they might have just been, too new. They might have just gotten out of a course and, they're still trying to figure things out. So Dealmate, the goal was to build a network of partners for ourselves, but trusted buyers for sellers, people that we
Right.
knew that are either, buyers or wholesalers that have, fantastic networks that can work with these sellers and bring guaranteed closings for them, instead
Yeah.
of the back and forth, the rigmarole with trying to figure out, oh, what's going on with title, and I haven't heard from this
Mhm.
buyer in 2 weeks. So we wanted to partner with people that were great at, their communication, that were great at their closings, that were great at maintaining the relationship with the seller. That was another thing that I saw kind of as a frequent pain point for the sellers, was that they get under contract and then they don't hear from somebody for 2 weeks.
Right.
Um, and that's understandable that, someone would get upset about that. I mean,
Yeah.
if you were selling something of that much value and then all of a sudden you just didn't hear from someone for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
it's a you kind of, your brain kind of makes up its own story of what's going on, and
Right.
you put yourself in a point where you're just kind of drowning in anxiety, and we know
Yeah. I
what
mean, that can
that
make it.
looks like.
Yeah, that can make a difficult situation even more difficult, right? Because now
Right,
you're thinking this is the solution, and now you're on hold. But
right.
I love what I hear you saying. I hear you saying that Dealmate would you started it to educate people, which is great,
Yeah,
right? To give them different options, and that's part of that education piece, right? To
right.
connect them with the resources they need, and then to expedite and speed the process up so they can get this thing done and move on with their lives. And I love that's your
Yeah.
your role in the business. It's great.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's really it's a great business to be in, and when you're doing it the right way and you're working with the right people, it's really fulfilling. It's a super fulfilling business to have. It's really it's kind of a privilege to be in the position that I'm in, to have so many awesome people that work at Dealmate, and to have such a great team of dedicated people who, they all show up. Everyone shows up every day with the same vision. We've got the same goal, which is just to help as many people as we can. Our
Yep.
whole position on phone calls is we're never trying to pressure somebody into a deal. We don't ever
Mhm.
want you to take a deal if you don't want it. There's
Right.
no point in forcing somebody or having to twist somebody's ear into hearing out certain numbers, or trying to get them to accept something. Instead, when they speak with us, they find that they've got a friend, they've got somebody who's in their corner, whose sole purpose is just to educate you and help you figure out what strategy works best for you as a seller. And what that translates to down the line also is that, when we introduce that seller to one of our partners, they're not spending that first 20 minutes on that call talking about the offer and how does cash work or creative renovation and all these questions that they have. We get those out of the way when they speak with us, when we help them figure out what their strategy is.
Right.
So when we introduce them to the partners, they're just talking numbers. They're talking about, when they want to close, and how fast they need to move, or if they need uh if they need some kind of an extension on their time to pack stuff up, and instead of talking about the details and going through what that process looks like in every step, we try to do that beforehand on the call, so that when our partners are talking with them and for the seller on both sides, it's just about the deal. It's just about saying, okay, here's the deal. This is what I need. What are you going to do? Perfect. And then they move forward and sign those contracts. And um, we see that translates pretty well. And we've got some really awesome reviews on Trustpilot that speak to exactly that. That
Well, I was going to
that
say,
we just don't pressure people.
didn't you recently just get an award in the Tampa area for something in the real estate space? Tell us what that
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, we did. So we got the Best of the Bay award from the Tampa Bay Observer for the best cash real estate service in Tampa Bay.
There you
So
go.
that was really awesome
That
to see. We were super
says a
excited. So
lot.
we threw that up on the website. And then a little earlier this year, the Stellar Business Committee also gave us an award for the best cash real estate service in the US in the top 100 real estate companies. So that was really cool. That was really, really awesome to see. We didn't
That's great.
expect that, but we have a really awesome PR company that we started working with from the jump.
Okay.
And they've done a really awesome job of getting
Yeah.
our story out there and getting our reviews in front of journalists and editorial people. So it's been really
Yeah.
cool.
That's awesome. Well, and I think you said there's a live event coming up. If you're local in the Tampa area, or if you're close enough that you could drive in, tell me a little bit more about this. It's called Deal Makers Live. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we've got Dealmakers Live coming up. This is going to be on July 16th in Tampa. So it's a combination of different efforts. So the event's being hosted by Dealmakers Academy, owned by my good buddy Garrett. He has got a large community of different students. What he specializes in is helping folks um, get deals moved. So he'll help them figure out, how's the best way to get this contracted and to do the acquisition, and gets these folks trained up. And once they've got that deal locked up, he helps them dispo that deal out and get it closed as quick as possible. So for the live event, what we're doing is we'll have Garrett from Dealmakers Academy, we'll have myself from Dealmate, and then we'll have our partners over at Closed Title who are there to
Mhm.
do the title work. And then we will have Funds to Close, who will be providing the funding to everybody that's there at the event. So
Yeah.
it's kind of just like moving down the line. Kind of, if anyone's ever worked in the kitchen, it's like you're just moving from station to station. So you
I
start
love
at
it.
one. Dealmate is providing the leads, so we're providing real-time leads during this event. And so what you'll do is you'll talk with that person, you'll work to get that deal under contract. Once you've got that deal under contract, we'll sit there and figure out what kind of funding do you need, if you need funding, and get you guys hooked up with funds to close. And then from there, you'll go over to the title company. You'll go in that same room, go talk with Closed Title, and get all the title work moving. And then once that's all set up, you bring that right back to Dealmakers Academy. They'll help you dispo that stuff out. But then later on that day, we'll have a second half of the event. So the first half of the event, that's for wholesalers and investors that are looking to lock up new deals.
Good.
And we're providing all of those leads live for the event. And then the second half of the day is for end buyers. So we'll
Okay.
have a segment there called Deal or No Deal. So we'll have some of our partners over at Dealmate, some of Garrett's partners, and then some of the bigger local investors come out and sit down. Basically, we'll put up a board of all the deals that all the wholesalers and investors that had showed up that day, that they've locked up. Put that up on a live deal board. If they've got extra deals, if they've got other JV stuff in the pipeline, they can bring that too. And we'll throw that up on a board, and we're going to run a deal or no deal session. We'll talk about each one of those deals, and the buyers will talk about it. We'll have kind of a live Q&A session over the deals and try to get people's deals sold for them. So
Yeah.
we're really excited to see what'll happen. Basically, you're locking up deals, getting your funding, doing the title work, and getting them sold all right there on the spot. So
Start to finish,
it's
wholesale
yeah,
live event. I love it. It's so
yep,
fun. And whether you're a brand new wholesaler or whether you've been doing it for a while, reach out to Mike and plug into that event. Like I said, if you're in Tampa area or even close by, that you can
yeah.
get there, or come in for that event. That'd be a really exciting event. We're glad to be part of that. Thank you for including us and helping out
Of
with the
course.
transactional funding side of things.
Mhm.
And yeah, I just love the whole start to finish, get it done in one day aspect, and it'll be exciting to see how that all plays out. And that's just one
Mhm.
of many events you guys are planning for the coming year, correct? There's
Yeah,
more of these
absolutely.
to come. In fact, I think you said this might even turn into something that would travel around the country, which would be totally awesome.
Yeah, we might end up forming a roadshow around this. So, what's fantastic is our partners over at Closed Title. They've got tons of
Yeah.
offices around the country. I think they've got
Mhm.
38 or 39 different offices in different markets and different states. So yeah, we're looking to a little later on this year start up a roadshow. So we'll go from location to location. We'll host the same event where we do the deal makers live and the deal or no deal segment at the end of the
Yeah.
day. And we're really excited that Closed Title has been so generous and helping us get the event up off the ground, but also helping to provide the different spaces that we can host these events in. But we're excited to not just provide value, but and I will say we did kind of get this idea a little bit from Pace, just a little bit. So Pace, if you're watching, we're not stealing the idea, but we did kind of take, we've sat on plenty of those live call sessions where Pace is getting deals locked up. So that was definitely a root of inspiration for this, but
Yeah.
we're still super excited to bring people out in the Tampa area. I know I've got some good friends that'll be making it out to that event, but anybody else who's looking to join, definitely reach out to us. And if you wanted to get some more information, you can shoot us an email. We've got our main line at support@sellwithdealmate.com. So if you wanted more details, yeah, right down there at the bottom. If you guys want more details about the event, or if you're curious just about Dealmate, you want to talk business, you want to talk JV, you guys want to talk about leads, feel free to reach out to us. I personally make tons of time all throughout the week to talk with new partners or just to talk with folks that are in the space. Because at the end of the day, everything in this business really does come down to your network. And
That's
that's
it.
what Dealmate's literally built on, is having an incredibly strong network of buyers and partners. But it's not always just about who you work with. Sometimes it's about who can you call to get advice from, who can you
Right.
call to figure out how to structure the deal. Like in our instance with Linda and Jason Courtney, he's the guy that knew exactly how to structure that deal, and we
Right.
didn't know how to sell cars, but Matthias knows how to do
Yep.
sub two on cars. So
Yep.
if you've got questions, reach out. We'd love to have you at the event. But overall, my door is always open when it comes to networking and getting some deals done or just giving some general advice.
Yeah, guys, don't hesitate to reach out to Mike. He is super helpful, and he does have the connections and the resources to help you get things done. He is, like I said, a great problem solver. So don't hesitate to reach out to him, partner with him. We're excited to partner with him here at Funds to Close, and we're glad you were able to be on the Investor Spotlight with us today, Mike. Appreciate that. Well,
Yeah, absolutely.
we'll be talking real soon, and enjoy the rest of your weekend and time with family. You deserve it. You've been working hard. Get a little break, and we'll be in touch real soon. Okay.
Perfect. Sounds good,
All
Tim.
right.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks. See ya. All right. Well, that'll do it for this episode of Investor Spotlight. We hope you got some value out of this. If you did, please click on the button to subscribe and check out some of our other videos. We'll see you next time on Investor Spotlight.